Our next story is from the US. It's about the rise in hate crimes against Hindus, a rising trend of Hindu temples being attacked, which has led to, and I'm quoting, an increased collective anxiety among Hindu Americans. These are the words of a US lawmaker, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, a Democrat from the state of Illinois. He's been leading the charge against anti-Hindu hate crimes in the US along with 4 other Hindu members of Congress. Together, they wrote to the US Justice Department recently asking for an update on investigations into vandalism at Hindu temples. They want to know what the police are doing to prevent these crimes and who is behind the attacks. Here's our report.
A few days ago, 5 members of the US Congress decided to sound an alarm. They wrote a letter to the US Justice Department asking for information about hate crimes. But not all hate crimes. The 5 members of Congress are looking for something specific: hate crimes targeted at Hindus. Specifically, information on the recent spate of attacks on Hindu temples in the US. Over the last few months, many temples have been targeted in both the US and Canada. The people behind the attacks seem to be Khalistanis, who want to break up India and carve out a separate nation called Khalistan from the Indian state of Punjab. Khalistanis had their heyday back in the 1980s, but India crushed the violent movement, and Khalistanis fled the nation and made their way to countries like the US and Canada, and continued to propagate their ways as the West turned a blind eye and justified their separatism and terrorism as freedom of speech. Fast forward a few decades, and this is what you get. Attacks on Hindu temples by the descendants of these separatists. It got especially bad around the New Year. A Hindu-American politician claimed that 6 Hindu temples were attacked in just 2 weeks. This includes the Sri Swaminarayan Temple in Newark, New Jersey, and several temples in the state of California. Khalistanis are suspected to be behind these attacks because they announced it themselves. They wrote the phrase Khalistan Zindabad on every temple they vandalized. That means long live Khalistan. They also wrote the phrase Modi is a terrorist, referring to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, political opinions are one thing, but you can't deface a place of worship, and you can't terrorize a community. That is a hate crime. And multiple such crimes took place in quick succession around the turn of the new year, with similar things written in each instance, suggesting that the attacks were coordinated. It's been a few months since all this took place, meaning American law enforcement has had time to round up the perpetrators. So you'd think that the cops are on top of things, right? Sadly, that's not the case. As the 5 Hindu members of Congress have made clear in their letter, it states that they haven't been told of any leads. Hindus are living in fear and intimidation. The community is concerned. If we remove the layer of diplomacy, the Hindu members of Congress are effectively pulling the cops up. They demand to know what's going on, and they've issued an ultimatum. April 18th is the deadline. The Department of Justice has until then to give them an update and a plan on how to deal with rising anti-Hindu hate crimes. It's a sharp rebuke, and it draws attention to the plight of Hindus in America. Their places of worship are under attack by some who believe in a divisive political ideology. The United States of America is well known for preaching peace to others. It's high time that they get their house in order by reining in these divisive elements at home.